Format, the beginning of design. Hello, my name is Lana Grover, and I will be your instructor today as we discuss the concept of format as it relates to design and visual communication. All designs have to exist somewhere on a physical surface. That defined perimeter and the area it encloses where a designer begins composing a design with his or her first mark is what we refer to as format. Whether the design application is printed on a page or painted on a canvas or viewed on a screen, the format is the outer perimeter that acts to frame and hold the design solution. In this way, format separates inside from outside. It states that a design is a world of its own and not part of a surrounding world. Format also provides visual control, making it possible for a designer to control the composition. Formats can be different shapes and have different orientations. Each format has its own unique characteristics, which becomes the starting point for a visual message. We often make strong associations or connections with different format types based on our personal perceptions and reasoning. From those observations, we also perceive different strengths and weaknesses associated with each unique format type. I will now discuss some of the different types of format and will explain some of their specific characteristics. A horizontal format is a prolonged rectangle in a horizontal direction and is sometimes referred to as landscape format. Some of the specific associations with a horizontal format are expansive horizon lines, which we often see in landscapes, and conservative or stable concepts and ideas that remain fixed like the long baseline of the horizontal format. Strengths found in a horizontal format are associated with a state of rest, calm, and stability, much like our own experience of being at rest when we lay horizontally. The potential weakness of a horizontal format could be that it remains visually boring or static, meaning with little or no movement or lacking visual excitement. Remember, a potential weakness in a design element or principle could always be made into a strength if used properly in the context of your visual message. Each format influences the design elements, such as line and shape, which are placed within it. Because certain elements are either complemented or in direct contrast to their surrounding format, their visual power may be accentuated or decreased. For example, in a horizontal format, elements appear powerful if they're moving horizontally, because they have room within the format to extend, and also because of the strong support they receive from the long top and bottom horizontal lines within the format itself. However, vertical elements in the horizontal format appear more static or without movement, as their relative motion is controlled in a small vertical space. Diagonal and curving movements may appear more aggressive in the horizontal format because they are in direct contrast to the rectilinear or straight-lined format. In this example, At the Beach by Edward Degas, horizontal lines appear powerful and accentuate the expansive nature of the horizontal format. Vertical elements add depth, while curvilinear and diagonal lines add visual contrast and energy. A vertical format is a prolonged rectangle in a vertical direction and is sometimes referred to as portrait format. Some of the key associations with vertical format are a connection to construction or building, a reflection on the power it takes to defy gravity and to create a building or to stand vertically. Because vertical movement goes against the natural law of gravity, we tend to also associate it with opposition or rebellion. This sense of defiant power is also one of the strengths of vertical format. Its ability to stand upward creates movement and strong visual interest. Because the base of the vertical format is much shorter and it stands much taller than the horizontal format, the potential weakness within this format is that it sometimes appears unstable or unbalanced. The visual movement in a vertical format is unique in that objects within it have a tendency to rise or sink. Vertical elements within the format are powerful, and when elements are directed upward or placed above the top third of the format, they will appear to lift toward the top of the format. However, objects near the bottom of the format tend to stay anchored and stubbornly to the bottom. Because of their lack of space to move, horizontal line elements may appear more static, while diagonal and curving movements will appear more active. Georgia O'Keeffe makes a bold statement in this vertical format with her expressive depiction of the New York skyline. Strong vertical lines coupled with a powerful vertical format convey a dynamic energy. Horizontal lines create contrast and structure, while the presence of diagonal light beams increases the activity in the composition. A square format is equal distance both vertical and horizontally. Some of the associations with a square format are a strong masculine and modern presence, coupled with a dignified exactness. Because of all its equal size, the square format is perceived as extremely stable, with equal balance, and in addition, all corner points of the square point inward, creating a strong natural focal point. Although the strong center of focus in the square is a strength, it is also a potential weakness, allowing viewers to become fixated on the center of the format alone. The intense focal point in the center of the square format pushes the eye powerfully toward the center. Horizontal and vertical elements appear very similar to the equal sides of the square format and tend to be more static, while diagonal and curving movements appear more forceful and active, because they show a stronger contrast to the surrounding format. In this stirring self-portrait, German artist Lucian Freud utilizes the intense focal point of the square format to place emphasis on the central figure. Slight vertical and horizontal elements isolate the viewer's attention further, while diagonal and curvilinear lines increase the overall intensity of the portrait. In a circle format, all points on the perimeter are equal distance from a fixed center point. Circle formats have a very strong association with those things which are feminine and organic. Because there are not rectilinear lines in the format to support the concept of man-made perimeters, the circle format appears more natural and welcoming. The self-aware personality of a circle format gives it a strong inclination towards centered or complete concepts. In contrast, the circle format may sometimes appear isolated or free-floating because of its lack of a solid flat base. Because the circle format lacks corners of intersection, strong visual interest can be found at the center of the circle and around its perimeter, as all points directly force the eye movement into these areas. Horizontal, vertical, and diagonal elements appear more powerful in this format as they force a direct contrast to the curvilinear or all-curve format. Conversely, any curvilinear movements that may appear in this format tend to be more static. The centered focal point and perimeter strength found in the circle format provide a beautiful environment for this depiction of the family by Michelangelo. Strong horizontal and vertical lines provide energy and power, while diagonal and curvilinear elements provide more contained and subtle forms of movement. Each format has a set of unique characteristics which constitute the starting point of every new design. I hope you have enjoyed our discussion on format, and that you will now be able to use it more effectively and more selectively in your own design work.